There's so much going on throughout our local area here in the greater West Bloomfield community. It's been a busy few weeks, and it's going to be a busy few months coming up as well, as we have many elections on the docket between now and the big presidential election coming up in November. It's a perfect time to check in with West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder for all the information we need to know and talk about some fun things happening in our community as well. Clerk, thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning, Tyler. Good morning, Kevin.
Yeah, happy day to you as well. We're glad to have you on the program. You're coming to us from a special location. You're at the L. Brooks Patterson building, which is the Oakland County main office, getting together with many clerks from our local area for some training as you anticipate the election season. So let's begin with that, Debbie, because this is some really important stuff that clerks are doing, training together, getting familiar with what we all need to know as we get into election season. So talk about that collaboration and how it helps local clerks' offices get themselves better prepared for the work they're doing all throughout the year.
Well, there's no question that collegiality is where it's at, especially in election land right now and with all the changes. So Oakland County has, I think it's 63 jurisdictions within it and a lot of clerks. So as the recent, president of the Oakland County Clerks Association, which I am no longer in that role, but I was for 4 years on that board, you see the value of sharing with your colleagues. When we get together, we all have experiences. Some may have them before the others. That the opportunity to share and learn from provide immeasurable opportunity to for each community to benefit from. So this is another example of getting together with other communities in the county to share information and share ideas. And the county leadership is here to make sure that we're all getting the same information from the county down, and we're sharing information to them also as far as what we're experiencing in the fields. So that opportunity for collaboration benefits everybody, and it's really enjoyable. And I know I enjoyed my time in being on that board for the Oakland County Clerks Association because I saw the value of it and I know what it brought to people. We would take opportunities to keep our members updated with legislative changes because a lot of times things were changing and people were busy. So that board became an important source of information to share with the colleagues as well. So I think it's with any local opportunity for collegiality, it always benefits people, and it's no different with clerks.
And that brings us to an important point, too, because that information that you're learning from other clerks, those lessons that you're learning from other clerks' offices, can then be employed in our local clerk's office, and especially when it comes to elections, can help make for even smoother processes within the parameters we're already working in here in West Bloomfield and ultimately all throughout the county. So really good information there, and hopefully further success at that training as you continue on with that today. Debbie, closer to home, we're still looking for more people to participate in our elections coming up, particularly in election inspectors, or more formerly known as election workers, which are needed for every single cycle, not just the presidential, but all the elections in between. What is being sought after right now at this time by the township?
So we are always looking to recruit because I don't think people realize on it for any election, we need between 250 and 400 people for election day to have that election happen. We have 26 precincts and 17 polling locations, as well as a mini absent voter counting board. It takes a lot of people to conduct a smooth election. So we are perpetually seeking additional people to work those elections. We have people who stay for a long period of time. We have over 100 people who've been there at least 10 years and over 20 people who've been there over 20 years. So I always say people don't, leave elections, they retire out of it. They enjoy it and they look forward to it. And then they ultimately decide they want to spend more time or whatever, but they have spent a career doing elections. And when I recruit people, and I've told you this a hundred times, Tyler, you're probably sick of hearing it, but when I recruit people, I tell them it's a long day. Everyone complains and everyone comes back. So that tells you that no matter how difficult it is, nor how challenging, nor how long of a day, they do understand the magnitude of that service. They are feel that it's a rewarding opportunity and a rewarding experience, and they sign up to do it again. And we have worked hard to make sure that we've established a leadership pipeline so we have people ready as some of our chair people retire. But that's why we're perpetually seeking new people because 250 to 400 people on election day is a lot of work. So we have to make sure we're always filling that pipeline with people eager to get involved and people looking, quite honestly, people looking to understand the election process. And nothing educates as well as working an election and seeing what goes on. When sometimes you hear of the misinformation or disinformation that's out there, the best way to understand it in context is to work election and see for yourself all of the checkpoints and processes in place. So I invite everybody to get involved and come learn. You are trained for, there's training involved so that you're ready for election day and you're working with a team. And most of our chair people have been there for years. So the supports are in place as you begin your election career journey to have guidance and leadership to learn the processes.
Clerk Debbie Binder with us from West Bloomfield Township on today's edition of the Splash Live. Clerk, there's not Clerk Binder, not just a lot going on in the clerk's office as you get ready for election season coming up, but it's been a busy week. It's been an important week in our local history as well. A lot of fun on Monday as people enjoyed the total solar eclipse, even though it was technically partial here in the greater West Bloomfield area. Here's a picture on our screen on civiccentertv.com that you received from Matthew Orell, who is a West Bloomfield resident that went down to Greene, Ohio to see the eclipse in the path of totality. That's a picture he took of the moon covering the sun during that process. But you had a lot of fun here locally too, West Bloomfield Township and in the clerk's office, getting outside in the middle of the day and enjoying the solar eclipse yourself.
I did, and I will say Matt Orell, he was in Bowling Green, but he is also an election worker. So he did send the pictures to me. It was exciting. I would have gone to Ohio, but my youngest son had a band performance in Ann Arbor for his jazz band at a supper club. So I was too nervous to get stuck in traffic and be late back. So I decided to stay back home in good old West Bloomfield and watch the partial eclipse. I was excited. I mean, it was an exciting experience, a once in a lifetime. I was what you would call probably a little geeked out all morning long, and my office really just wasn't joining me. They just did not understand the level of enthusiasm and thought it was a little crazy until it was close to the time of, the maximum coverage. And then all of a sudden they were all outside enjoying it. And one of them even said to me after, that really was cool. So they understood why I was so excited after. It just was a neat experience to see. And with the glasses that hopefully a lot of people had, I do want to give kudos to the West Bloomfield Township Library for ordering those glasses and making sure that everybody who wanted them had access to them. And to see that exchange or see that experience or that celestial event through those glasses and really understand what was happening was just cool. And now to go on to NASA and watch the replay of it and see from the totality perspective was really cool also. Now I will say, as I was very geeked out on Eclipse Day, and Tony in my office was in Bowling Green, Ohio, watching it in totality, and said after he saw it in totality, he understands why it's not seeing that is there's nothing like it. So his stories and his photos were likewise as impressive and carried the magnitude of the event. So I know it's a ways off, and I don't know that I'm traveling overseas. Hopefully, I'm here to make a trip for the next eclipse, the next total eclipse.
And we have plenty of our coverage too from across our community. Roosevelt Elementary celebrating the eclipse day earlier on this week as well. We were in the path of totality. Dave Scott, Brooke Allen, and Jason Dean. The eclipse show special still replaying on Civic Center TV. You can find that on demand on civiccentertv.com. Clerk Binder, a couple more minutes with you. I want to touch on a couple of individuals that have made a really big impact on our community who are being honored recently. The first of which I want to talk about is Bob Mellen, the Be Like Bob Scholarship through the Optimist Club of West Bloomfield. The applications are currently open for that. Not applications, donations are currently being sought for that at this time, Debbie. And Bob, you've told me about him as in our past conversations and kind of the ways that he impacted our community. What's your memory of Bob Mellen, and why should people participate in cherishing his memory in Greater West Bloomfield?
Oh my goodness, there's so many good things you could say about Bob Mellen. He was a gentleman's gentleman and a leader and a kind soul. He was at Optimist Club all the time, and I'm not a morning person, so I would drag myself in there, and the thing that made you the most happy when you walked in was Bob Mellen's smile and greeting. He was the kind of person who looked you in the eye, and when he asked you how you were doing or what was going on, he really wanted an answer. He genuinely cared. He was a community, leader, a quiet leader. He did it by making sure that everybody felt valued, and that was what I think made Bob so special. Is that anybody who encountered his orbit understood that they provided an important value to their community, and he recognized, like, he valued that interaction. He valued you as a member, and he was willing to get involved and do whatever he could to be a leader in the community. One of the examples I recall was early on when I joined Optimist, and we would do the holiday party for youth in the area, and we had a ton of gifts and a ton of donations, and he donated his house as a wrapping center. And I don't know if I can quite get the magnitude. It wasn't a group of 10 people wrapping gifts. It was probably a group of 80 people wrapping gifts in his basement for hours, and him feeding everybody dinner, and Bob and Margie being the incredible hosts that they were, making sure that the job got done, but that it was a great experience for everyone else who was there and involved too. And I think that's just who Bob was. What is this? Where can I get involved? How can I help? And that's why I know, I think when I first said that, the be like Bob, it was really important, because I think if everybody would be like Bob, we would have a very different society. He was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human being, and a tremendous asset to West Bloomfield, and a tremendous ambassador for West Bloomfield. So I miss him, and I think of him as an amazing person and an amazing leader always.
You can find more information on the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield Optimist Club. That's facebook.com/West Bloomfield Optimist to donate to the Be Like Bob Scholarship fundraiser currently ongoing. Debbie, lastly, we had someone very similar in terms of impact to Bob that we recently lost in our community, Sherri-Anne Wynter, who was honored at a recent West Bloomfield Township Board meeting. Talk to us about the parallels between Sherri-Anne and Bob and why this is such a huge loss for our community.
I would say one of the biggest commonalities between a Bob and a Sherry-Ann is that both of them understood it's not what you say, it's what you do. And they both rolled up their sleeves, got in, and got involved. My first encounter with Sherry-Ann was before I met her through anything having to do with Clerk. She moved into my condo complex and right away ran for the board and got involved and did what she could to make it a better environment. And that's always what Sherry-Ann did. Sherry-Ann rolled up her sleeves, got involved in things that many of us didn't even know about. She was one of the original members of the diversity task force in helping create things like Black Expo. And I know she got involved and helped with the Juneteenth group, and the African American Parent Network, and the PTA. I mean, just anywhere that Sherry could get involved and make a difference, she was willing to do it. And I remember talking to her mom at the visitation, and her mom saying how eye-opening it was even for her, how much Sherry-Ann got involved in and how important she was to the community. So I think that's another lesson where she's similar to Bob. Sherry-Ann didn't do it because she wanted credit. She didn't do it because she wanted recognition. She did it because she wanted to make a difference. And I think that that is who Bob was and who Sherry-Ann was. And when you looked at everything she did to contribute to the community, it was from her heart and for the good of the community. It was meant to make a difference, not to help Sherry-Ann. So both of them, I think, were tremendous ambassadors for West Bloomfield, and made a difference in the community that we all enjoy today. So I will miss Sherry-Ann. You know, Sherry-Ann was very young to lose. That was a life full of a lot of promise that we lost, seeing what she would do. But I think that in her honor and in her memory, it calls on all of us to make sure that we're listening to, don't, it's not what you say, it's what you do. If you want to make a difference, roll up your sleeves, get involved, and make it happen. And that was the lesson of Sherry-Ann. Everywhere you turned, she was getting involved, rolling up her sleeves, and making a difference. And she had two young kids, still found time to get involved like that. So I hope our community will wrap their arms around Sherry-Ann's children, who now lost their mother at a young age, to help make that family feel as welcome as Sherry-Ann made all of us feel.
It was a touching tribute by the West Bloomfield Township Board and members of the community, including those that worked very closely in a volunteer capacity with Sherri-Anne, like Vincent Kirkwood and Kelly Heyer from West Bloomfield Parks. Highly encourage you to watch that footage from the April 1st West Bloomfield Township Board meeting to learn even more about her impact in our community. Debbie, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Tyler. You have a great day, and thanks for getting the word out as always.